Each one of you is here because you're asking the big questions. Who am I? What should I be doing? When is the right time? Where do I want to be, and how do I get there? A few years ago, me, my wife, my 3-year-old, and my black lab decided to sell our home, sell all of our possessions, and get in an RV and go on a 1-year RV trip around the United States to figure out the meaning of life. We did 29 states in 12 months, and we did all the live life to the fullest things you could possibly imagine. We were hiking in the most beautiful trails. We were seeing the most beautiful things like waterfalls and mountains. We were boating and motorsporting and meeting amazing people all around the country. At the same time, I was on my own existential journey that at this point had been over 10 years long. So as a filmmaker, I took it upon myself to film a documentary series searching for the meaning of life. I interviewed over 125 people around the country, strangers, nomads, people I just met randomly on the street, asking everyone, how do you personally live life to the fullest? And what do you think the meaning of life is? Along with those interviews with strangers, I was lucky enough to shoot interviews with 40 of the greatest minds in the United States. From scholars to historians to scientists to religious leaders and gurus, I had these wonderful, beautiful conversations asking them all of the deepest, most beautiful questions you could possibly imagine. Now, when I got done with my trip, I had people always asking me the same question. So, did you find the meaning of life? And the answer is, I found something. Now, the trip itself was really interesting because I was on this deep journey. I was having fun, and it was really exciting, but it was crazy, crazy busy. We're shooting nonstop interviews. We're filming our entire life. We're learning how to live the RV life. We're learning how to take care of a 3-year-old and a dog on the road. So even though I got to have these really deep, beautiful conversations, asking the deepest questions about life, I was so busy with what we were doing, I really didn't get to digest all of the wisdom that was being passed along to me. And so I knew I needed to do something about that. So what did I do? I got in my truck, I drove into the Rocky Mountains in Colorado, and I decided to live alone in the woods for 40 days. Now, as I was preparing to go into the woods, I had to ask myself, what is my goal while I'm out there? Because you can do a lot of things when you're by yourself for 40 days in the woods. So I kind of had to focus a little bit and figure out, why am I ultimately out here? And ultimately, because of my existential angst and pain and anxiety, I just wanted some peace in this life. Now, when you look at the research and you jump on Google and you say, okay, I have lots of anxiety, how do I get rid of that? Did you know that one of the #1 answers is simply reduce stress? You jump on Google and you type in, I have crippling depression, I'm laying in a ball on my bed, bawling my eyes out for days at a time. What can I do about it? One of the biggest and greatest answers is to reduce stress. Me and my wife have been trying to get pregnant for 3 or 4 years now. We've been taking supplements, we've been going to the doctor, we still can't get pregnant. What else can we do to be healthier? And one of the biggest answers is reduce stress. Now, stress is interesting because what it's doing is literally, physiologically destroying neural pathways, these electrical connections in your mind, in your brain. And reducing that stress has the potential to heal those connections. And that made sense to me because my anxiety looked something like all day, every day, my thoughts going like this. It was like the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory where they zap the chocolate bar and it's doing these little sprinkles up in the sky. That's what I felt like my mind was like nonstop. And I could never get it to quiet down. So my goal when I went into the woods for 40 days was to reduce stress. Now, a lot of things happened to me in those 40 days, but it was on day 9 that my life was absolutely changed. Now, day 1, I arrive in the woods and I start getting camp set up. I found a little spot by a pond, beautiful mountain stream flowing through it. Day 2, I'm kind of still getting set up. By day 3, I've essentially got nothing to do. All I'm doing is sitting, taking walks in nature, resting, cooking simple meals. And yet my mind was still spinning 600 miles an hour. Day 6, day 7, day 8, and finally on day 9 it happened. On day 9, I was sitting next to this trout pond watching these cutthroat trout swimming through the water. I was sitting in my red camping chair, and I don't know why, but for the first time in my last 10 years of anxiety, it felt like someone grabbed a weighted blanket that was sitting on my shoulder and lifted it off. And for the first time in 10 years, I felt some level of relief. And I just wept. Now it's interesting because it took me 9 days of doing absolutely nothing to get to that point. And the other thing that was bizarre about it was the anxiety came back full force about an hour and a half later. Now by day 10, the anxiety left again, but came back, but it left for a little bit longer. Day 11, it left for a little bit longer. It was about by day 13 where the anxiety, the crippling anxiety that I had for a decade, left me 100%. 13 days. When I'm living my normal Western American life, sometimes I don't give myself 10 minutes to sit and rest. And yet it took me 13 days to find any sort of peace. It was this experience, it was this lesson in learning how to rest that allowed me to change my life and start writing the next chapter of my story.